And another former Malaysian Prime Minister charged with corruption. But Muhyiddin Yassin insists he is innocent and a victim of selective political persecution. Oh, let's dig deeper into the Malaysian corruption story. We're joined by Ibrahim Suffian. He's the program director at the Merdeka Centre, speaking to us live from Kuala Lumpur. Oh, Mr. Suffian, if we look at Mr. Muhyiddin Yassin, now he leads a conservative Malay-Muslim coalition that prides itself on being clean, relative, of course, to the relatively tainted UMNO. So a charge like this, it is far from trivial.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this is a very important and serious charge that has been leveled at him. 6 specific charges dealing with influence peddling and also money laundering. And these charges are very serious, and it comes to a very significant amount of more than 50 million US, where he has been accused of using his office to influence corporates to donate funds to his political party. And this, I think, certainly is definitely going to run into a protracted legal battle between him and the government, and it will potentially affect public perceptions of himself as a national leader, as well as his coalition moving forward. And I think more so important, it's because in several months' time, we will have state elections in 6 states in Peninsular Malaysia.
So as you mentioned, whether or not this is selective political persecution, this must come to the advantage of the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who will be fighting what we called at that point, November last year, the green wave, when we saw PAS securing on its own the largest number of parliamentary seats. So Anwar Ibrahim and UMNO will be wanting to stem that green wave, and Bersatu and PAS will be wanting to build on the momentum of that green wave last year. So what has happened to Mr. Muhyiddin Yassin? Do you think that will have a significant impact on the political dynamic?
Well, you know, the results of the November 2022 elections in Malaysia has shown that a majority, perhaps anywhere in the region of 55 to perhaps 57% of Malay Muslims chose Mr. Muhyiddin's coalition, Perikatan Nasional, in that general election. When we look at the numbers in some detail, there is significant shift, particularly amongst independent-minded voters and young voters, people choosing for the first time to give a chance to his coalition. Now, while he and his coalition partners did not end up winning and forming the government, they still retain a sizable majority of the Malay Muslim support. And so when this court trials begin in sometime in the future and these charges set against him, all of this, I think, will have an impact in terms of how the people that supported him is going to react. I think we are still in early days right now. We are not sure whether majority of them who are supportive for Perikatan Nasional will see this as a politically motivated move, or will they actually follow through and look at the details of the charges and then begin to change their minds about him. So we are still in early days. Whether or not this is going to lead to a strong gain by the ruling parties, or will this end up backfiring and aiding Mr. Muhyiddin and in the form of sympathy support for him going into the future?
All right, it's early days yet, but I'm going to ask you to make a guess at this anyway, an educated guess. Do you think support will switch to PAS away from Bersatu, or it will switch to UMNO very quickly?
Well, I think support will shift to PAS. Within the people who are already backing Perikatan Nasional, the support will shift perhaps away from Bersatu and shifting away to PAS in the near term. A lot depends on what happens in the coming days and the details with respect to the money laundering and also these corruption charges, whether PAS is implicated in some of these transactions going to the future. So we don't know. But PAS has been for many years now campaigning that it is a clean party. It is a party whose leaders are not tainted by allegations and charges of corruption in all these years. And that has built them a base of support that seems to be growing within the Malay Muslim population in Malaysia, especially younger Malays.
Oh, thank you for sharing your insights with us. Ibrahim Suffian from the Merdeka Centre speaking to us live from Kuala Lumpur.